These are my top 10 favorite productivity practices. And this is not just like for photographers. A lot of these will help anyone who's looking to be more productive in their business so they can actually get their tasks and the goals that they set out for themselves done and done in an effective way. You guys know I'm all about working smarter, not harder. So these are the things that I personally believe in that not only help me get things done, but help me get things done in a less amount of time. Because if we can work smarter, not harder, and be more efficient in our businesses, then we are freeing ourselves up for time to do more income producing activities, right? Or if you don't need more income producing activities, then it's more time to spend with your family. It's more time to relax. We live in a society where we are taught that if we are not just going 24/7, then we aren't being productive people, that we aren't putting our worth out into society. And I don't believe that. I believe that, we have one life, and I think, we spend the majority of that working, and I think that's kind of sad. I really think that, our jobs can be a passion for sure. Not all of us are lucky to be in that position, but you can definitely have a job that is your passion. But rest and forming relationships with others is super important. So that's why I want to share these with you guys today. Okay. So top 10. This is not really in any particular order either. So number one, brain dumps. We have so much going on in our lives that it's really important to be able to have a place where we can just put all that down on paper. And the reason why is you cannot expect yourself to keep everything up here. You just cannot. So what a brain dump is an actual list of all the tasks that you need to do. Okay. And I personally do a personal and a business one. And in my notebook that I don't have in front of me, I'll have one page that's personal, one page that's business, and I just write down everything, every task that needs to be done. If something pops in my head all of a sudden, I will go and add that to the list because I will forget that later. Okay, whether you have like issues with things like focus or not, this is a really important practice because we have busy lives. So on top of that, we also have busy businesses. So when you can just have a brain dump where you can just throw all of your thoughts, all of your to-dos down on a list to refer to later, that will free you up from so much stress because you don't have to keep it in here. Your brain is just not able to do that, guys. So that is a very key thing that I do that helps me in my business, okay? Secondly, number two, a daily to-do list. From this brain dump, I will choose what is most important for me to tackle today. What do I need to work on? Okay. And that from that list, I will be making my to-do list for the day. All right. These daily to-do lists, I do the evening before. Now, what I do may not work for you. Maybe you like to get up in the morning and make your list of what you're going to do for the day. But I like to be able to sit down in my office when I'm ready to start work and go for it because I can get distracted really easily. And I don't want to waste a lot of time planning because I can get caught in planning mode. So I like to, the evening before or before I wrap up my work, is to make my to-do list for the next day. Okay, reviewing that brain dump, picking out the priorities, and making that to-do list for the next day. Okay, the next productivity practice that I believe is super important is using a planner. All right, now when it comes to planners, I'm going to say this. I have my favorites. You guys probably have yours. You have got to find the one that works the best for you. I have tried all kinds of planners out there, and I will be happy to share with you what is working for me at the moment. Last year, I started using Chalene Johnson's Push Journal. It's called a journal, but it's actually a planner. Each one is 30 days. You can actually buy them in sets of 3 to help you do a quarterly planning. Now, we talked about quarterly planning last time when we talked about setting up goals for productivity and profitability. And so that's why I love them. Also, it is just one that really works for me because it not only has a daily schedule that you can fill in, it has a list for to-dos, has plenty of note paper if you want to keep your brain dump in there, and it helps you prioritize what you're going to do for the day. Also, what that planner has in it is it has a section where you can write down what you have been eating for the day, making sure you're having enough water, your exercise, things like that. So if nutrition and health and exercise are something that's important to you, you can also, that's also available in those journals. Let me grab one. I've got one right here. I think now you can actually buy a version that does not have that, but I love it. I absolutely love it, and it helps me stay on track with my business and personal stuff. So, no matter what planner or journal is out there, you got to find the one that works best for you. I'm trying to find this for you guys. So, they have like a weekly planner in it, and then there's the daily one. So, this is what the daily one looks like. I know this is going to show you guys backwards, but it's undated, so you can put whatever, you can start whatever day that you want. Again, why I love like 12-week planning, because you don't have to wait for January 1 to start doing this, plan. And it's got a schedule here, room for notes. It has tasks, and it's just very, very effective for me. Again, like when I was talking to you guys about, there's a fitness log, a food log. If you want to track that kind of stuff for yourself personally, which I do, you can get that too. Again, I think they've started giving that as an option, but it's Chalene Johnson's Push Journal. Again, use whatever planner works best for you, but you need to have a planner. Okay, that helps me to make sure I'm not just making a list of what to do, but I'm actually getting it done. Okay, so that's what I refer to every single day. The fourth thing that is a favorite productivity practice of mine is having visual cues. I talked to you guys a little bit last week about some of the things that I use for visual cues, and one of those is a yearly wall calendar. I literally have the full calendar year on my wall where I can mark off any sessions, any weddings, any styled shoots, anything that I have going on. Also, I include my personal time on there. So if I have vacations that are set, everything is basically a year at a glance that is on my wall. That can show me how well I'm doing with booking clients, for wedding sessions, style shoots, all those kind of things. It's just a year at a glance, and I love being able to refer to that. Next to that, the other visual cue I have is a quarterly calendar. So we talked about that 12-week and quarterly calendar planning last time. And so I refer to that on a daily basis. So I have what my goals for each month are on there, what I need to focus on. Remember, we talked about our offer focuses last week. So I have that as well. Then we talked a little bit about this last week. I have my quarterly glance breakdown. This is what I made in Canva, canva.com, canva.com. If you guys aren't aware of that site, it's fantastic. I made this template from scratch, but they have all kinds of templates. If you want to just put down your plan for the year there, you can. I also have themed work days, and so I have that calendar. The other visual cue I have is my social media content planner, and this shows my social feed content planner, my Insta Stories content planner, and my Facebook group content calendar and planner. So those are some other visual cues that I have. The theme day calendar I use for batch work, and that is another favorite productivity practice that I do. Batch work helps you to concentrate on one or two tasks at one time versus trying to multitask, switching from one thing to another. So like I mentioned, I like to theme certain days of the month. Like for example, one day a month is going to be all for social media prep. Another day is going to be for written content like blogs and email newsletters, things like that. And what batch work helps me to do is stay laser focused on one subject. And I'm telling you guys, you will get so much more done in one sitting than if you're like, okay, today I'm going to do a blog post, and then I'm going to edit for a couple of hours, and then I'm going to answer emails and back and forthing. I know that, a lot of us feel like we can multitask. I was one of those people, but there are so many studies out there that show it actually makes us harder. It makes it harder for us to switch gears from one task to another. And so we are not as productive. When you get in the zone, for example, if you're doing a day where you're going to be focusing on writing your blogs, when you get in that zone, you produce much more quickly. Okay, so batch work is very, very important in my productivity practices, and it's something that I would highly recommend for you too. Okay. The other thing that I love to do is have a weekly goal review. It's one thing to set out goals. It's one thing to make a plan for it. But if you're not constantly reviewing those, you're not going to stay on task. Okay. All these studies that are out there, look them up, guys. When you talk about goal planning and who actually is succeeding at those goals, it's very, very interesting. It's one thing, to increase your likelihood of accomplishing a goal when you write things down. But it's a whole different game when you're actually reviewing them consistently. The people that are the most successful at achieving their goals are the ones who not only write them down and make a plan to achieve them, but they review them. Reviewing your goals on a consistent basis is key. All right. So another thing that I love is a habit tracker. I use a daily habit tracker. And what I love about habit trackers is that it's a visual cue to help me stay on track with daily practices to help me in my personal life and my business. Guys, there are all kinds of habit trackers out there, just like there are planners, but I will tell you, you can just Google free habit tracker. And there are plenty of designs that are absolutely free for download online that you can print out. But basically, what it is a 30-day little habit tracker. So you can write down things like if you are really trying to focus on reading, for 30 minutes a business book every single day, if there's certain other practices in your personal life or business that you're wanting to make sure that you are doing more frequently. It's a great visual cue and it just does something for our brains when we can mark off each day that we accomplish those things. Those habit trackers have really made me much more productive at getting tasks done that I otherwise weren't. And so I highly recommend that as well. Has anyone ever used a habit tracker before? I'm just curious. I started using that last year along with the 12-week planning, and it really has helped me so much. So much. I mean, they have all kinds of beautiful, pretty ones that you can get on Amazon. But honestly, I just print free ones off of Google, and I actually will cut them down to size to fit into my planner. And that way, I have everything in one spot, which I love. I don't like to have too many things in too many different spots. Okay. So, so no one's tried that before. Just curious. Okay. The other thing that I think is my favorite productivity practice is to use a timer. I get distracted very easily. I've told you guys that before. And, it's especially if it's something that's a little more, I don't want to say the word boring. I hate to use the word boring. But if I am trying to do something that's content heavy, or if it's just not something I'm super into, having a timer absolutely helps me. So if I'm trying to write some blogs, I'm just not feeling it for the day, but I need to get it done. When I can set a timer for maybe an hour or two, whatever it is, I want to, whatever the time block is I'm going to use, it just is a constant, like, it's almost what it is basically is a source of accountability, to be honest with you. When the timer is ticking, I see that clock counting down, it just pushes me forward. And there's something called the Pomodoro Technique. We've talked about it here before. It's something that you can look up. I do a version of the Pomodoro Technique. The Pomodoro Technique is where you work for about 20-25 minutes, then you take a 5-minute break and you do like 4 rounds of that. For me, that's not quite long enough. It takes me about 20 minutes to really get in the zone of doing something, a task for the day. So I like to set 90-minute increments for myself and take breaks in between to be able to get things done. And that timer really, really helps me stay on task and actually complete things within the allotted time, so I'm not wasting time. Otherwise, if you give yourself all day to do a task, it's going to take you all day. But if you give yourself a couple hours to do a task, you will get it done within a couple hours. Trust me on that. Okay. So I know we talked about batch work, but the other thing too is a CRM. That's a client relationship management system. If you're not aware of what that is, it's like, personally, I use HoneyBook, and what that does is allow me to handle all the inquiries I get from clients, be able to automate systems so I can easily send them session guides, wedding pricing guides, things like that. It saves a ton of time. So no matter what system that you use, I highly recommend getting a CRM. If you guys are interested in the HoneyBook, I do have a special code that you can use that will help give you some savings. I'll make sure to link that below in just a little bit. Okay. The last one I want to talk to you guys about, I think it's probably one of the most important ones, is get an accountability partner. If you can find someone, and it doesn't have to be someone that's in the same business that you are in, but personally, that's what I prefer, because I like to be able to have someone that I can lean on, share wins with, who understands where I'm coming from. But accountability partners, if you can find someone in your life or your business that you can touch base with, maybe it's even on a daily basis, maybe it's a weekly basis, someone that you can sit down and say, hey, these are things I'm going to be looking to accomplish this week, and they help hold you accountable for that, you are much more likely to get things done. When you have your own business and you have no one telling you what time you need to get up, what time you need to get to your desk, what time you need to get going, you can get very relaxed in your business. It's so easy. And it's so easy to get to a point where you're saying, oh, I didn't get this done today, I can work on this tomorrow. And we just end up wasting more and more time, and we're not getting things done, and we're not reaching our goals like we should. So when you have an accountability partner, that all changes. And I think that it's so needed when you are a small business and you are the one who's running the whole show. Even if you have a small team, I still think this is very important. You need to have someone that you can share your struggles and your wins with, someone you can celebrate with, someone who can empathize with you when things get hard, someone you can bounce ideas off, and someone that you can provide that for too. It's so very important. Corey had said, okay, you would use the planner, Corey. Okay, use the Legend Planner and help prioritize things. Yeah, it definitely prioritizes your life and your business beautifully. I really think that being organized in a way that, where you have things written down on paper is very important. I know there are a lot of people who are relying more and more on digital planning, but I'm telling you guys, read the studies. There is something that happens with our brains when we have a thought and it comes out to pen to paper. Okay. It's made a huge difference for me. So I stopped doing any kind of digital planning. Now, do I have copies of these plans digitally and, in my hard drive? Absolutely. Of course. But for my everyday, comings and goings, as you can see, I have everything out in front of me, and I write things down. Okay. Millie said, I'm part of an accountability group. We meet once a month. There's 2 life coaches, a baker, and myself. We're both working on our businesses, and each time we meet, we discuss goals. It really helps. That's awesome, Millie. I love that. I'd love to hear how you found that group. And, I'm curious too, do you guys, since you meet like once a month, do you have like anybody within the group that you touch base with more regularly than that? I think that's fantastic. For me though, I really need more than once a month accountability, but I think having a group like that is fantastic. That's wonderful. And sometimes too, when you have different people with different businesses, you can get different perspectives. But if you are looking for like a solo accountability partner, for me, again, this is just me. That doesn't mean that it's going to work for you or not. I really prefer someone who is in the same line of work that I am, and also at least in the same place business-wise that I am, and looking to grow too. Someone who's just as driven, like someone who has the same business personality type as you, if you understand what I mean. Like I'm someone I'm very type A. I am very driven and very, very motivated, and not a lot of people are. Not a lot of people are. There's plenty of people out there, but I personally haven't found that a lot of people are, or maybe just not as driven as I am. So I need someone who's just as on the same level as I am, so I don't come off as being too demanding for that accountability partner. Do you know what I mean? Millie says, we text each other regularly, but we have been so busy we haven't been able to meet more often. We meet over Zoom because we all live in different states. I love that. We met because we all went to the business boutique in Nashville last year. Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome when you can go to events and end up networking with others. You never know who you're going to meet. It's always an opportunity. That's fantastic, Millie. I love that. Do you guys have any productivity practices that you would love to share? Those are my top 10 favorites. Those are the things that I have found that have made me the most successful with not just getting things done, but, reaching my dreams and my goals in a way that I had hoped. It's so easy to slip when you own your own business. Anybody? I know it takes a second for you guys to respond. All right. Listen, guys, I hope this helped. Before you sign off though, please don't sign off yet. I know a lot of you have asked about packages and pricing for photo. So I would be happy to talk about that, but we in the past have already discussed about figuring out what you should be charging per session, per wedding, per client, what have you. So what I want to know is, what do you want to know about packaging? Are you wanting to know about the psychology behind it, about how to set up your packages, things like forced dichotomy, if you haven't heard of that before, the things that help you lead your clients to the packages that you are hoping that they invest in, things like that? Let me know in the comments. Send me a message. I'd love to know that so I can help you guys best. So that way I know what to focus on, because again, I'm getting a lot of feedback about, hey, we'd like to learn more about packages and pricing, but I would love to get some input about the specifics to that. Okay. All right, guys, let me double check here. Corey says, I found time blocking doesn't work for me. Just having general tasks works a lot better than being on a tight schedule. Corey, I have let go a little bit of the time blocking. I am theming my days. So what I mean by that is I have a calendar that literally says what my focus is for the day right here. So for example, I've got, one day a month where I'm focusing on all my written content for social media, things like that. Another day where it's written content for blogs. So I'm kind of testing something out with myself right now, because I used to be really scheduled down to the nth degree on my daily schedule. I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to focus on, this is what I need to get done today, and this is about how long it should take me. I also write down on my to-do list that next to my task an estimate of how long it should take me. And the reason why I do that is I need to know, have I put too much on my plate today? Is this realistic? Is this doable? Is this going to overwhelm me? So that's a tip for you if you haven't done that. But what I've started doing, Corey, is I have started with those theme days, not trying to time block so heavily, just be like, this is what you need to get done today. Go for it. Estimating how much time it's going to take me. And that I think has really helped me, because what was happening to me is if I had scheduled, let's say going to the gym from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. before I start my work day, and something happens that morning, it's 9:30, I'm already stressed because I'm off schedule. That throws me off for the whole flipping day, even if it's 30 minutes. So I have found by just saying, today you need to work out, today you need to, write up all your emails for your newsletter for the month, and you got to do your blogs. If I just kind of let it go at that, I'm finding that I'm getting it a lot more done. I'm less stressed, a lot less stressed. Let's see, what does Corey say? Like, I have things I need to do per day, homework, projects, artwork, etc., but not like 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was doing, Corey, and it stressed me out. So I'm kind of testing things on myself to see what it works. And that's the whole thing, guys. When it comes to getting stuff done, there's no one system that's right. I think it's awesome to hear what other people are doing. I love to hear about people's productivity practices and tools and steps. Love it. I love the topic of it. But I have found they don't all work in the same way for each person. And sometimes you may find a technique that you think, oh, this isn't for me. But I encourage you, before you toss something aside, try it out for a while. And if it doesn't work, change it up and see what does work for you. Like the Pomodoro Technique I was telling you guys, the way it was originally constructed to work does not work for me. I adjusted my time sessions, did wonders. Let me look at these messages here. Dee says, yes, almost at a point to where I can be a decent accountability partner. Dee, I think you can be a decent accountability partner. I think the thing is, especially Dee, I know you're going full time now, it's finding someone who's on the same page with that as you, because I have found for me personally, if someone has a business that's not that maybe they don't need a certain amount of income, maybe it's more of a hobby, or they don't have the pressure of, I need to make sure that I'm paying my bills. It can be a little bit tough if that is your pressure, because you don't always empathize in the same way, if that makes sense. And Corey says, that's probably been my biggest production increaser. Then if I have a bad day, I don't feel guilty about being up and doing the work at night, more working around my health issues than them dictating my life. Exactly. It's just having a to-do list and knowing what tasks need to get done. But again, if you are scheduling yourself to the nth degree, it really, for me, has created more stress than good and has interrupted my productivity of the day. Like, it will actually put me in like this frozen mode. So again, I'm testing that out for myself this year. And so far that I seem, just this past couple weeks, I'm getting a lot more done, because, it's like, okay, so I missed this time that I was supposed to start. That's fine. I'm going to just get started now. And I end up getting things done faster. So Corey says, I know everyone can't, but another thing that helps is I put a bed in my office. Then if I can't get myself out of bed and moving around, I can still be productive from bed. Or if I sense a sleep attack coming, I can just crash. I know, Corey, you deal with narcolepsy, so that's tough. Pretty specific to my situation, but adjusting Yeah, as needed. Yep, that's really smart. And I think with especially photography, we can do a lot of things from our computer. So if you're having a tough day, if you need to go on the couch or if you're working from bed, I don't like to encourage work from your actual bedroom if at all possible, because that needs to be that can interrupt your sleep cycles psychologically. There's a lot of stuff I've read about that too, that you need to have one room that's dedicated solely to sleep. But we have that luxury of, if we're not having the best of days, take your computer elsewhere. Take your laptop to the library. Take it to a coffee shop. Take it outside while it's beautiful. Today is really nice. Take it outside when it's beautiful. Change up your scenery. Sometimes that's all it takes. If you're having a rough day, or if you're not feeling well, you can hang out on, chair with an ottoman, put your feet up and work a little bit. So we have that luxury when we have our own business, which is amazing. All right, guys. Any other questions or comments? Any other productivity tools that you guys have as your favorites? I hope this inspires you. I know we talked last week about setting up goals for profitability and productivity. And again, that's fantastic. But then how do you get these things done? So that's why I wanted to touch base on my favorite practices that have worked really well for me and my business, so I could share this with you. And hopefully, that's something that maybe if you aren't already doing, it inspires you to look into that, or inspires you to look into other productivity practices. And again, when I say productivity, I know that we are like beating over the heads all the time about being productive, but there needs to be balance. We need to have rest. And these practices that I gave you guys today are ones that also help me get more done in less time, especially batch work and theming my days. And that way I have more time to spend with my family or to do more income producing practices. So guys, if there are not any other comments or questions, I'm going to let you go. Hold on one second. Millie says, I'd love to know more about the psychology behind pricing. Millie, do you mean how, let me think about this. Millie, do you mean to help, what I'm assuming you're saying is you want to know more about the psychology behind it, meaning how to lead them towards a package that you would like them to invest in. Let me know if I'm on track with that. But also, if you guys haven't watched the pricing for profit video, please watch that, because the pricing for profit video is going to give you the number that you need to minimally profit, so that no matter what package someone invests in, you are profiting. Okay, so that's really key if you haven't thought of that already. Just one second. Dee says, have you considered selling your calendar setup? Oh, is that something you guys want? I used to sell, last year was the last year I did it. I have a goal planning and productivity calendar and planning system that I had in my shop for a couple of years. But, I have found, I don't know, it didn't do as well as I'd hoped that it had done. And I've kind of revamped my system. So, if that's something people want, I can think about it. But this setup that I've done this year is new to me. So this is not exactly what I had in the goal planning and productivity planner and calendar that I released in the past. But it's something that if you guys are interested in, let me know. Because I'm happy to create whatever shop products you guys need to help you in your business. So let me know about that. Millie, I'm looking to hear back from you if you're still there. That was about the psychology of pricing. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing any new comments. But yeah, Millie, let me know, or the rest of you guys too. Like, tell me about what you want to know about packages when it comes to photography sessions and weddings, etc. I do IPS. I do in-person sales. So with that, that's a little different than shoot and burn. Shoot and burn, if you're not familiar with that, is where client pays a price up front. You provide the session and the digital images. Now there's hybrids of every model too. Some people will upsell additional images. They may say, oh, you only get X number of images, and if you want to buy the rest, the whole gallery is this much money. Or some people just, give them everything. I personally do in-person sales, and the reason why I do the IPS model is because with that particular model, in my personal opinion, and many others too, there is no income ceiling. There is no income ceiling. And I like that. I don't want to settle for middle of the road. I don't want to settle for, just, X amount of dollars. I want to be able to offer people the things that they want to put on their walls, that they want to put in their albums, and not limit their choices, and also not limit my possibilities for my business. So I can also talk about the differences between those models too. I think that might be a good live. So let me double check. Millie says, I wrote it. It must not be showing. I'm looking, Millie. Hold on. I see about the psychology behind pricing, but I don't see. Millie, I'll check after I get off of here, but if I don't see it, I'll message you and see if you can give me some more info. Okay, guys, I'm gonna let you go. I hope this helped, and I'll be putting a poll up soon, so we can talk about or let you guys vote on what you want to hear next time. I hope you have a great day. It was great seeing you. Thanks for joining me live, guys. I love it when I see you guys here live and we can have a conversation, because it's just so much easier for me to help you and to answer your questions. So have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.